reversed, but we had the same result in Classical. Hikaru Nakamura ultimately won in Armageddon if you missed it. And here we go. We're off.
We're off. Who will launch the first improvement? It is the Nimzo Indian again, making you happy. Danny, we're going to get another lesson here.
The same opening, Anna.
Exacting to see who will deviate. Or will they now go for that crazy line where black would sacrifice a rook? No, this is not the exact same now.
Okay, so very, very fast decision from Hikaru, which means very, very fast prep in between the game, right? He went right from the end of Classical to catching up maybe with his second on site, Chris. Shout out to Chris if he's here. Hikaru came back to the board, did not choose Queen F3, David, went directly for C takes D5 and then the F3 transition here to try to get a big center.
Yeah, and white has lost castling rights, but watch out for the white king to maybe castle by hand, as they say, artificially getting the king to safety. White does have the opportunity to build a huge pawn center as well. Okay, first though, Fabiano is trying to trade off the queens, seeking safety in an endgame. I'm going to say not the most impressive prep, but he has switched things up, and Hikaru is well known to be very strong in these technical type of positions. We should also remind everyone at home, Armageddon, the extra time advantage is going to be a huge factor later on in the game. So interesting. Fabiano mentioned in his confessional he has struggled in more simplified positions this tournament.
He struggled, and he struggled with the time management as well in some of his Armageddon games. So it's crucial to highlight how in Armageddon, white starts with more time, but black has draw odds. And so far, Hikaru is keeping his time advantage.
Playing fast, and probably his position is a little bit to be preferred. But again, the draw odds are huge because Fabi's position is super solid. He survived whatever improvement Hikaru wanted to go for, or just avoid whatever Fabiano's deep preparation was from their Classical game. Kind of fun to see. I don't know how many times we've seen the opening be so aggressively repeated with a clear improvement yet in the event. We've had games go, of course, many games go from Classical to Armageddon. So interesting that Hikaru went right back for this line. And Fabi is being tested again in Armageddon. That is indeed the truth.
It's fascinating that the players, even though they only have like a 10-15 minute break between the Classical and Armageddon, they do consult their seconds and they come up with these improvements and ideas on what to do, how not to go for the exact same line, but an improved version of what they played earlier. Even more impressive that Hikaru was giving autographs and taking pictures with fans while also getting ready for the Armageddon. So I don't know how he does everything. You're a streamer.
Yeah, where does he find the time to even study chess when he's streaming 6 to 8 hours every day? It's incredible, Hikaru Nakamura. In the meantime, though, Fabiano, yeah, I think he's in good shape. Very solid here for black. His next move is, well, his last move, A6, hints that he wants to play B5, followed by activating the other black knight towards the queen side. That's the flank that black is stronger. That's the side he wants to play on. And Hikaru create any active play for white as the clocks start to tick down.
Yeah, and I like Fabi's position. And good plan there you highlighted. Obviously, B5 is coming. The other knight will come to B6. This isn't a traditional Nimzo in that white doesn't have doubled pawns on C4 and C3, David, but black has the other positional compensation you often get, which is C4 is a square dominated by black. It's an outpost square. Even if white was to relocate the knight from G3 to, say, F1 to E3 or D2 and try to make an exchange, the other knight is right there. And so I like Rook D1 from Hikaru. He's going to try to keep the position open. D5 is something that now you'll always have to think about with the Rook on D1. But yeah, main thing is time. Fabi has gotten that advantage that started as 3 minutes down to 2. Here comes D5 right on cue.
And I'm expecting Fabiano to either take this pawn right now or just continue with this plan, improve the black knight. Interesting that Hikaru wants to kind of change the pace of the game here and now. This last move means it's no longer about maneuvering. Maybe he's spotting that Fabiano is about to tick under the 5-minute mark. He wants to give concrete problems. He wants to make it a bit more tactical, Anna.
Yeah, he's the one who has to win this game on demand. So he's going for something more aggressive and something more concrete, as you mentioned, David. But I really like this for black. I always like knight maneuvers, so I think I'm biased here. I do like the knight outpost on C4 and that you're backing it up with the other knight that could then jump to A4 to attack the C3 pawn and threaten a fork. Of course, Hikaru is not in any danger, But he's also the one who has to play this game for a win, so he needs more than being okay.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I'm liking Fabi's chances here. Love the threat of knight a4, and yeah, I mean the time advantage is going away fast. We've seen White score super well in Armageddon overall, but in round one, remember, it was 4-2 in favor of Black. So the round 6 mirror of the same situation, could that spell a good round for Black in Armageddon? I don't know. I'm just making an observation. It was the last time, I believe, in the event that Black had a plus score in Armageddon.
True. At the very beginning, and now it's the same players facing the same opponents with colors reversed. So that Armageddon was won by Hikaru holding a draw against Fabiano, and now it's Fabiano with the draws with the black pieces.
But look at this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mistake maybe from Hikaru, a question mark given to his last move, and the Black Knight could have jumped in, creating some serious threats.
Fabi doesn't take his opportunity. Does he see it the second time around? It's got to be the same move for Black. Knight a4 would hit c3 and make it very awkward for the rooks. But no, Fabi doesn't go for it. The edge is still strong, though, here. You can really see the dysfunction in White's camp, right? All the pieces on the first rank. The c3 pawn is dead where it stands if it can just get attacked. So a tough position for Hikaru. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just observing that he started shaking his head. And Danny, you are very good at reading Hikaru's body language. But I thought even me without the knowledge, I feel like he's not comfortable. He's not.
Here comes knight a4.
His position's falling apart, though. There's so many weaknesses, and Fabi is playing so well right now. Not only probing away on the queen side, probing away at a loose pawn here in the center. Watch out, the white king even in trouble potentially with some knight checks. Oh dear, Hikaru, it's all gone wrong. Just these last few moves, he was totally fine, but it feels like he's been the architect of his own demise here somewhat, just giving Fabiano a plan, and Black's moves are so straightforward. Clock advantage down to under 1 minute. Board advantage all about Black right now. Fabi can even try and repeat the position. White has just yo-yoed his knight back and forth. If Black's knight comes to a4, Hikaru needs to find something different.
It's a great point. I might just play knight a4 because of that. Play knight a4 and just see what Hikaru's intention is, right? Is the only, and he does it, the only move, knight back to e2. Hikaru might just accept his defeat right now. I mean, it's not advisable because you might as well lose. It's the same points on the scoreboard at the end of the day if you lose with White or draw. Remember, we talked about the time. It is 10 minutes to start and 7 for White, 7 minutes for Black. But the score, no matter what, even if you lose, you at least get a point. The winner gets 1.5 points. So, okay, Hikaru does do something different, but that was interesting.
Yeah, it looks like Fabiano giving a check now. There is a pin on the F-file, so at the very minimum, Black could pick up a pawn in the center right now. The white E-pawn not actually defended here. Does he get greedy? No, Fabiano just keeps the tension. Looking beautiful for those Black Knights. Stallions.
Yes, an incredible position to have the knight outpost on c4 and also a really strong beast on d3. He simply plays rook to d5 with the idea of doubling rooks on the next move, improving. With every single move, he's improving his pieces slightly but surely and confidently, where in a position where White doesn't really have the same kind of luxury that you can just go and improve your pieces and improve your position.
It's a nightmare Nimzo for White without the light square bishop. Now Fabi going to take the most concrete solution. He takes c1, enters with rook d2. He's winning the a2 pawn at the end of this line. That's a material advantage, the first one of the game. It does give Hikaru a little bit of life over here if Hikaru can get the knight to e4. Maybe f5 is on the agenda now.
Yeah, knight comes into e4. The one thing in Hikaru's favor is the clock, and we all remember Fabiano's catastrophe against Firouzja when he was totally dominant, totally winning in an Armageddon, but then lost control. So will lightning strike twice? Will the clock play a factor? This is Hikaru in hustle mode, pretty much.
It is absolute hustle mode, and things have improved for Hikaru in the last couple of moves. I feel like Fabi went for grabbing the pawn and went for a concrete line, but he didn't have to. He didn't have to release the tension, and now White's pieces are starting to become more active, even though Hikaru is down on material, but he is having better chances now to hold with the pawn down than before he had.
Totally agree. I'm not sure if the concrete solution was the best one, and we see the bar creeping back up in White's favor because the c5 pawn and the e3 knight are under attack. And even if you play knight d5, the lines are getting crazy. Hikaru might take c5 because then e6 and a6 are forked. You could also play g3, but all right, he's inviting rook takes f4 check should Hikaru take the c5 pawn. This is getting a lot closer. The good news is this for Fabi. Remember, he has draw odds, so he may have let it slip a little bit, but as long as he doesn't get himself down into terrible time pressure and re-invite losing chances, he should win this Armageddon.
Yeah. 2 and a bit minutes, though. Notice how Fabiano did look up at the big screen, just checking to whether he'd reached that magical move 40, where he will get a 1 second increment. That's priceless at this point. Black's plan as well in the near future should be straightforward. If he can arrange it, if he can start pushing forward the black pawns on the queen side, he can pretty much pre-move by hand there. But first he needs to sort out his pieces. He jumps in with his knight. 4 minutes against 2 minutes.
I agree with you, and I think Fabi should have sat on a position that just, I mean, you had 2 knights, the stallions, they were unicorns on d3 and c4. The rooks could have doubled. So interesting to play rook d5 and then go for the concrete solution where you had to move the rook again. Will it come back to haunt him? Again, I'm guessing not, because he has draw odds, but Hikaru is getting Fabi under pressure now. Here comes f5 at some point.
Wow, he's mixing things up. The blue arrow makes an appearance. That means that Black's best move by far is to start pushing already. Will Fabi find it? He does. Okay, very strong move there. Releasing the black rook as well, but counterplay. This one's getting really sharp now.
Very sharp in both of them with the pawn pushes, ignoring the pawn on f5, pushing b4 to create a c-pass pawn. This is what Fabiano wanted and is achieving. He doesn't even take back on b4. He's just pushing c3. That pawn is 2 squares away from promotion. How can Hikaru stop it?
Maybe he can't. Maybe he can't. We see the bar drop again. Hikaru has to take risks. He has to win with white in this Armageddon. And it looks like his chances are dwindling right now. Black's clearly ahead in the race.
Yeah, c2 gets on the board and it's over. Black won't need drawing chances anymore. And I don't know that he can stop it. The knight is going to take the b4 pawn to follow. Okay, there you go. This is the right thing to do. You didn't know what it was going to be, but you knew Hikaru would come up with something nasty. If you take b5, is there something wild with the rook entering and f6? Hikaru was going to try to pretend there is, because otherwise he was going to lose anyway. So if this works out, it was magical Hikaru swindling victory from the jaws of defeat. But likely there is nothing, and Hikaru kind of knows it.
Yeah, the problem is if there's nothing, it's just game over on the spot. Black is 2 squares away from touchdown.
You look at check and then g5, though. He's like trying to make a mating net. That's what I'm thinking about. Is Hikaru's trying to do something to put Fabi under pressure without time. This is what Hikaru does so well. It works better online, though, Anna.
It does work better online, but I think he still is hoping, due to the fact that Fabi is going really low on time. And there's going to be increment. They already have passed move 40, but the increment is only 1 second, which in over-the-board chess is pretty much nothing. You cannot really make a move in 1 second.
Okay, and Fabiano retreats his knight. Maybe a bit of indecision there. He wants to attack the white rook. I don't think there's any reason not to push the black pawn. White's idea is to launch a knight forward to f7 and try to deliver checkmate. It's a swindle, though. Fabi, he has 1 minute. Can he solve that one problem?
Ooh, he plays c2, allows it. He's got a way to stop the mate, and that's the key right there. Rook c8.
Oh, and Hikaru smiles. He knows that's the end of it. Fabiano Caruana wins with the black pieces and wins the Armageddon against Hikaru. It's a revenge for day one where the other way around happened. Classical draw and Armageddon win for